Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? There's a lot going on right now, isn't there? A lot going on today. Rather than wait for the people to show up and you all to say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm just going to get right into it because time is of the essence. Um, There are a couple things that have been going on in the last few days that I want to talk about. The first thing is, can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? First of all, what I want to know is how you doing? How you really doing? Uh, it's a lot of shit going down. It is a lot going down, and we have to try to maintain as best we can. Somebody asked me this morning, how am I doing? And I used the language of my elders in my family. I said I'm fairly middling. That's how I feel right now at this moment. I did want to come on briefly to be able to just talk about a couple things that are going on and have gone on that have been going on rather in the last 24, 48 hours. So the first thing is that not only has the Minneapolis or rather Minnesota Attorney General taken over the case in terms of prosecution. He has also upgraded the charges for Derek Chauvin. Let's just say the killer. He has upgraded charges, and they are now going from third degree to second degree. Third degree did not have an element or ingredient of intent or premeditation. Second degree does. And so that is what the police officer, former police officer, is facing. In addition, the remaining three police officers who are now former police officers, they have been charged as accomplices, which if you watched me on live on Friday, I told you that is what was going to happen. So for more information about that, you can do your own independent research with reputable and vetted sources of knowledge. You can also look on my page or go to Just Us Junkie. That is JUST, then US Junkie, JUNKIE. That is a space that is curated by my sister in the struggle, as well as my legal buddy, attorney April Prayer. And she went on live earlier to describe very briefly what is happening as it relates to the case involving the murder of George Floyd. So please go to her Facebook page, go to her website, support her because she is the bomb.com. She is a legal expert like none other. All right. The other thing that has been going on today, if you have been watching the news, is that there is now a preliminary hearing going on for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery in the state of Georgia. And so, what you are seeing, if you have been watching it, is not a trial. It is called a preliminary hearing, or at least that's what we call it here in Illinois. In the state of Illinois, for example, there are two main ways a person can be charged with a felony. The first is by a grand jury hearing where people from the community are subpoenaed and they sit in a secret and confidential space. They hear all of the information by way of testimony and sometimes exhibits, but mostly a testimony of the prosecution's witnesses. And then at the end of the hearing, the grand jury convenes to decide if they are going to formally indict a person by way of what's called a true bill or no true bill. True bill is saying that there is enough evidence at this time to proceed with criminal charges. No true bill means that there is not enough evidence to proceed right now with the charging of a person. So that's one way in which a person can be charged with a criminal complaint felony in Illinois. The second way is what you are seeing unfold right now in the state of Georgia, which is a preliminary hearing. Preliminary hearing is a very low evidentiary standard. This is where the judge decides whether there is enough information or evidence in order for the prosecution to go forward with criminal charges. And so that's what you are hearing right now. Usually, in Cook County, it has been my practice that preliminary hearings are not very long in nature for a number of reasons. One main reason is that this is kind of like playing your hand up front. This is where the evidence is being presented by the prosecution and it is still of record, which means that there is a court reporter who is typing down everything that is being said, and if any information or evidence changes between the day of the preliminary hearing and the actual trial, and someone says something different, then this preliminary hearing transcript can be used to impeach or undermine what someone said earlier, either because they could not recall or because their testimony has changed for whatever reason. So that is what you are seeing and hearing today is a preliminary hearing for Ahmaud Arbery. And you have it very publicized and very prolonged because this is a case of national interest. This is a case where they have brought in the cameras so that the public can hear what is the allegations. And so the allegations have been unfolding as to that case. Okay, so that's George Floyd, that is Ahmaud Arbery. Who you have not been hearing a lot of information about is the case in the investigation regarding Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor, in case you did not know, was a young lady who, while in her home, was gunned down by police of Louisville, Kentucky, because they were trying to serve a no-knock warrant. I'm going to provide more information about that tomorrow because tomorrow is the official launch of what I have created, which is called Legalese Please. Legalese usually is a legal language that is used by professionals in the legal system in order to communicate with each other as well as talk about different issues, context, content, what have you. And so legalese is usually very affluent in the sense that it involves a lot of information which the regular person, the regular lay person, may not know what it means. And there is significance to everything. And we have seen in the two cases that I've referenced, George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, what we think is supposed to happen in real time may not happen in legal time, because in reality there is certain moral codes, there are certain kind of ethics that take place. However, in the court of law, just because something exists does not necessarily mean it becomes evidence, and it may not be interpreted the same way. So while people may bring in their biases, their everyday experiences into a courtroom, the court of law has its own set of rules and regulations, which evidence you think may come in may in fact not come in for different reasons. And there may be some assertions that may sound ridiculous in real time. They may be ridiculous in court. However, some of those arguments can be made by counsel. So just be mindful of that. But getting back to Breonna Taylor, this is a case, and just doing my research, there is not a lot of information out here about this young Black woman who was gunned down in a place where she was legally supposed to be, which is her home. There's not a lot of information about her case. And unlike the case involving George Floyd's murder and Ahmaud Arbery's murder, Breonna's killer has not been arrested. They are still at large. And so while there is an investigation, there has not been any movement on this case since the month of March, which is when she was murdered. And so tomorrow, when I come on live, I am going to have my Legalese Please page accessible for all so that you are able to read some of the information that is out there about not just Breonna's case, but about many cases that are not deemed to be fit in the public eye, or they are in the public eye, but there is some misinformation. And as I told you before, information can sprout up very quickly, but you don't just want information, you want knowledge. You want to be able to be informed in a knowledgeable way so you can act accordingly. And how do you know that you have learned something effectively? You know it because you are able to teach it and explain it to another person. And so that's all I'm trying to do. There are those of us in the legal profession and in civil rights profession, legal profession in general, or any profession that feels our calling is to share knowledge with you so that you are empowered, not just with information, but with the truth. And as well as our different perspectives. But at the end of the day, it is all about you doing your own research, vetting the sources, making sure that you are not a believer that just because it's on the internet, it must be true. You have to do your own independent research. And my job, as well as, I should say, my calling rather, is to try and make sure that the level of access is equitable and it is free and it is unburdened, which means that you can have knowledge all day long. But if you do not have access to the knowledge, it is, as I have explained to my students, it is akin to having a winning lottery ticket and you have won your lottery and you are entitled to millions and millions of dollars. But if you do not know where to go, if you do not know how to claim the prize that is yours, then it is if you've never had that lottery ticket whatsoever. And so when we're talking about learning legal language and learning what do specific words mean and what they don't mean, this is about you not just having knowledge, but having knowledge that you can access. And so it is my joy to be able to do that work so that you don't just have to turn to CNN or MSNBC or watch the different podiums and platforms that are erected on social media that is spouting incorrect information. We want you to have, again, knowledge, but we want you to have knowledge that is power, but it can't be given to you or enjoyed or used by you unless you have access. So keep doing the work. Know that I will be with you all tomorrow night. It is going to be at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The reason why it is that late is because my 3-year-old has to be in bed and I want to be able to do and provide my service unencumbered, unencumbered, I should say. I don't want any interactions. I don't want any disruptions or interruptions. So that is why I have set it at 9 p.m. So join me. I will be live broadcasting through Zoom, through Facebook, and through YouTube. So those will be the three platforms that I will be on. I will give information about that, as well as my different social media handles so that you can not follow me, but follow the information that I present to you. And then you do with it what you will. Feel free to share. Feel free to check it, fact check it. Be confident in knowing that your voice matters and your perspective matters, and the accessing of knowledge does not just rest with me. I am just but one of many who are providing information to you. All right, so with that, I am going to end. I want you all to have as great a day as you can, whatever way you engage in resistance, actively or inactively, consciously, unconsciously. Be good to yourself. Take care of yourself and know that I support you. All right, with that, have a great day. Bye.